Hello everybody, welcome to the IT Skills channel. So if you were watching the video or the channel, we went ahead and expanded our cluster. It went well. You can see we have a cluster set up, it's all great. But what we run into is that I could not utilize the functionality of the cluster. For example, if I try to migrate a VM to a new node or the G6 node that we just added to the cluster, it just fails. Here's one of the G6. If I click on here, this is running on G7 and I hit migrate, it fails automatically. This is because the the node I added, the G6 block I added, is actually running a lower CPU version than G7, which is not good. How do we know that? It's because if we go to hardware and we can take a look at G6 running of their CPU, that is Intel Xeon Silver 4114 CPU with 20 cores. That's running on 2 sockets. That's what's running on the G6. But if you go back to G7, this one is running Intel Xeon Silver 4214 with 24 cores and 2 socket. So this is obviously the greater, and we need this VMs to be able to work interchangeably. So we need to enable compatibility mode. There's a big article, you can read through it, but the point of the matter is that we got to do this in Prism Central. It does not work on Prism Element because we have to be able to right click, update, and change that compatibility. Since we cannot do that here, we already logged into Prism Central, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the beginning on here. So I'm in Prism Central, go to VMs. We still cannot move the VMs there, so we're gonna need to go ahead and update general settings, even though this, and then we're gonna enable advanced processor compatibility. We're gonna do Intel Skylake. That's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna hit save. When I do this and it works as intended, we should have compatibility. So now I'm gonna fire up this VM. Where's the power control? And see if it works. Before we do anything in IT, testing is extremely important. So we're going to test it by firing it off. Once we fire off, it's on. It's going to be on the G7 node, as you can see here. It tells you it's on the cluster over there. In Prism Element, it's a little bit better, but it tells you what node is in. So if I click on here, you can pretty much see this is on the, right now it's on G6 node. And before, it wasn't. Before, I couldn't even move it there. Now it is. To further check this, if I come over here to our VMs, we're going to see my DCs over there because it's compatible now. If I want to migrate back to G7th, I should be able to do it. So if I come over here to G7th, at least the way I understood it, I'm going to move it to node A, and then it's pending. It could take a while. Right now, we are seeing that it's moved back to G7. So that's what we need to do with all our VMs. So now we can do that. So to do this, for the rest of it, I'm going to do the same thing. Because if I try to move it here, like I said, same issue is going to happen. It won't move because we know the issue. We're going to go to here, update. If I may need to actually go back to Prism Central, obviously. Go to VM, right click, update general settings. And we can't do this without the VM being turned off. So from this point on, when I'm creating a VM, I'm going to create it with compatibility mode on. So that way I don't ever run into that. So I can utilize this cluster effectively. So that's a little quick video on if you do end up having and they're not the same, they have 2 different CPUs like the ones I have here, you can simply fix that, negate that issue by simply compatibility. So that's what you could do, and it's really easy, as you've seen, that it's not hard. I'm gonna shut down all the VMs right now, and then I'm gonna update them all. So I'm shutting down all of them by selecting all, and I'm gonna update them. And this one, I'm also gonna shut it down because for some reason this one is on the limbo. Power cycle. Hold on, let me uncheck this one's over here. I wonder if it's gonna let me do this bulk, this general configuration. Let's see. Come over here. It's not gonna let me do it all bulk, which is unfortunate, but we still can do this. Yeah, you can let me do it. It won't let me do it. It's okay. We're gonna just do it one by one, and we're gonna make sure this is working. So let's come over here. General settings, enable. Obviously set up as Skylake. Save. Right click, same thing. Update, general. Enable Skylake, Intel Skylake. Enable advanced processor compatibility. Boom. Same thing. Skylake, save. And then same thing. Final one. So now my G6, that's an old node, will become useful. Even though the G7 itself is old and retired, they're both going to be useful now to each other. They'll be able to complement this environment effectively. I wonder if I could do the same thing on that. I'm not going to do those yet. So let me go ahead and fire back them up right now. Now they should end up in pretty much any settings over here. Say power on. I love this feature they added, Nutanix added with the Prism Central, where you can do bulk shutdown. So it saves some time and it's definitely better that way. So let's shut it down, this thing. And I'm update this test one or delete it, really. Either way, I wanted to just make sure that it doesn't have any hang going on. So now I did this. Let me go back here. You can see a lot of all of them are end up in G6, which is not what we want. Even though we set the compatibility, we want to go back migrating it to G7 node C, and then this one maybe migrate to node E. So they're definitely, because we did this, there are certain things that's taking precedence now, and so it's annoying. And then maybe we can set up a policy that when the VMs are created now, I know they're getting created in automatically in G6 now, or they being forced to be on G6. Even though we set up the compatibility right now, that's the only thing is you have to watch out that sometimes it doesn't know what to do. So like it tries to make other ones be on a different node. So but you can see it's definitely migrating the VMs and it should be on G7. All of them that says G6 most of them should say G7 now after this is done. Let me end this so that way we only, so I can see G7, G7, G6. If I do VM, this is a question, the test now. So let's go ahead, create new VM. They test. I'm gonna say two. I'm actually probably gonna create them in Prism Central. We're gonna do one in Prism Central, one in here. So we're gonna actually create one for ITKY CCM. Okay, internal is fine. Number of them is 1. It's okay. 2, 2, 8. 8 is fine. 8. We're not really gonna build. We're gonna go here and we're gonna enable that, and then we're gonna enable this. Next, the disk is gonna be that, and then we're gonna enable the disk by selecting VMs, and we're gonna give it 80 gig for now, or 90 gig, doesn't matter. And then subnet, we're gonna attach the IPs, and it's gonna be static assigned. It's gonna be 10.1.0.118. So we're gonna do this. Hit save. Attach VTM Defender. Attach TPM, and then we're gonna do UFI. It's all great, and then we're gonna attach a CD-ROM, and then we're gonna go ahead and attach. So I don't have the images cloned over there, so I can't really do that now. But overall, is good. The time zone is gonna be set to United States or America. That's the categories we can put in. That's good. Let's just do Windows. Do next, create VM. I want to know how this VM will be created, and I'm gonna do one in Prism. I'm gonna check it in here actually. So system is created. If I hit launch, what node is gonna go on? And the fact that I enable the compatibility is probably gonna go on in G6, but we can always migrate it and move it to G7. And the cluster should also be smart enough to do this, so that it did on G6 as I suspected. So definitely this solution, if you do it, you definitely have to deal with the idea that it's not gonna always be ready to do all the things that's for you, right for you. So you're gonna have to shuffle it, do some migration. But it's better to do that than not having a compatibility to migrate with your cluster. So I take this as a win, even though it involves a little manual work. But that's it. Now, if I want to move it back to G6, I should be able to do it. Vice versa. It initially created on G6. We move to G7. Now we're going to move it back to G6 and vice versa. And it should take less than a minute, really. And it's there. That's it. Yep. So with this, hopefully you guys learned something here. And remember, now that feature we enable is called Advanced Processor Compatibility. Take care, guys. Have a rest of the day. Peace.